Hello! Okay, for those of you returning to the channel, welcome back, and for those of you that are new here, that have just stumbled upon this video, then thank you for joining me, and welcome to my reaction and thoughts on the big news that dropped from within the world of James Bond this morning. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a massive fan of the James Bond franchise. I mean, I've grown up with these movies since, a kid. These are movies that kind of just sort of fueled my passion for film. I absolutely adore them, and I have been eagerly awaiting sort of this announcement with who's going to direct Bond 26. There's been a few names in the top 5, and every one of them I really liked for different reasons, but it was announced this morning that Denis Villeneuve, I think that's how you pronounce the name, apologies if it's incorrect, but he will be directing Bond 26, and I am overjoyed. I am so happy that we've got Denis directing a Bond film. He's always been in my top 5 directors to direct a Bond movie, and I'm just overjoyed. I am just, I'm a very happy Bond fan today, having heard this news. Like, when I first read it and looked at my phone, you're joking, I was like, oh my god, is this true? And I had to sort of go check on other outlets, other sources, just to make sure that I wasn't imagining it, and just making sure that it was legit, because I just couldn't believe that we were actually going to get this man to direct a Bond movie. Like, I would have loved to, if I was to do a top 5, who I would have liked to have directed Bond 26, of course, Denis Villeneuve was going to be in that top 5, but number 1 for me is Christopher Nolan. I think Christopher Nolan would be perfect, but hopefully he'll come along somewhere in the future to direct another mission. But yeah, I am very, very happy with this news. So I'm just going to read the statement from Denis Villeneuve here. So he says, some of my earliest movie-going memories are connected to 007. Same year, A View to a Kill back when I must have been around the age of 5, I think, or maybe a little bit younger, but I was around that age, and I remember watching A View to a Kill for the first time in a caravan in West Wales, and it was a Roger Moore Bond, and I just fell in love. And he goes on to say, I grew up watching James Bond films with my father ever since Dr. No with Sean Connery. I'm a die-hard Bond fan. To me, he's sacred territory. This is everything that you want to hear. As a Bond fan, you want to hear from the director that's attached to a new Bond movie. He is saying everything that I want to hear. He goes on to say, I intend to honour the tradition and open the path for many new missions to come. This is a massive responsibility, but also incredibly exciting for me and a huge honour. Just as a Bond fan myself, this, for Denis Villeneuve to be directed a Bond film, that for me is also incredibly exciting, and I think it's in very capable hands. And like I said, just going back to his statement, he is saying all the right stuff. Like, he's saying the stuff that I want to hear to sort of make me feel confident that he is the right man here. Like, don't get me wrong, just as a filmmaker, with his, previous movies, Sicario, Prisoners, Arrival, Dune. This man is talented. And he's capable of creating something, that's going to deliver. When he says things like sacred, and honour the tradition, that this is going to be, we were all worried. Like, I say we were all worried. I was worried when Amazon announced that they were taking full creative control. At the same time, when that announcement came around, I just finished watching Fallout. Now, Fallout, I absolutely adored. I loved that show. I think it's one of the best video game adaptations, if not the best, that we've ever had. And it sort of instilled faith. It instilled this confidence that I might not have had without that show, that Amazon, Amazon having that sort of full creative control would have been a good thing. And I think choosing a director like Denis Villeneuve, as well as him, you know, declaring that he is a diehard Bond fan, that, you know, this to him is very special, you know, this is sacred territory, that really kind of gives me the confidence that this is the man to sort of relaunch a new Bond into, you know, a new era, and I am incredibly excited. But it has got me curious to the direction they're going to go into. Oh, they're going to go in with, you know, this new Bond. Like, we don't know who the new Bond is yet. I mean, Aaron Taylor-Johnson seems to be, you know, he's highly rumoured. I'm not 100% at the moment I'm not 100% in how I feel at the moment with Aaron Taylor-Johnson. But then I was the same for Daniel Craig. So, you know, and look how that ended up. You know, Daniel Craig is now one of my favourite Bonds of all time. But one of the things that kind of stood out to me reading this morning was, oh, interesting, like, where are they going to go from here? Because usually when we get a new Bond, it usually comes with this kind of new flavour, and it usually comes with a sort of like a slight tonal shift. You know, like with Connery, I know you had Lazenby, but then you had Roger Moore, and there was a tonal shift there between Sean Connery and Roger Moore, and then you had Dalton, which went right back to sort of the gritty, sort of the darkness of the novels, the edginess of the Ian Fleming novels. And then we get Pierce Brosnan, who was always, for me, a bit of a blend of Roger Moore and Sean Connery. And then you get Daniel Craig then, which kind of veered sort of back to more of the Dalton Bond, and sort of, you know, more into sort of that kind of the, you know, a Bond that kind of captured more of the Ian Fleming novel, that kind of the edginess and the grittiness of the Ian Fleming novels. And so what the point I'm getting to here is, you know, Denis Villeneuve, for me, would have made a great director with Daniel Craig as Bond. I mean, when I think of Denis Villeneuve and his movies and his directing style, he would have been great. He would have just fitted in within sort of the Daniel Craig tenure. And so it's interesting. I'm curious to see where they go sort of with the Bond franchise now, because like I said, they usually they shift slightly in tone, and sort of, for me, with Denis Villeneuve directing, it just feels like perhaps they're going to stick more to the sort of the darker, edgier and more serious tone of the Daniel Craig Bonds. I'm happy with that. I'm really happy. But it's not sort of tradition, you could say, or just what we would come to expect when it comes to a new Bond. And sort of, yeah, it like I said, it usually comes with like a new flavour. It usually comes with this kind of new sort of shift in sort of tone. Like, that's why I kind of thought that we might have had Edgar Wright. Only because for me, and I think Edgar Wright would have made a really good James Bond director. Like, he's not number one in my list, but he again, out of all of the directors that were being rumoured, he was definitely, without a doubt, in my top 5. But I think he would have brought more of that kind of the classic humour that maybe that we're all familiar with the Roger Moore Bonds, maybe. And
General, there's a bomb in that cannon.
Sure, where else would a bomb be? Great clown, man.
I'm deadly serious. I'm a British agent.
What?
I just think we would have, with Edgar Wright, we would have had that kind of shift in tone. It would have perhaps been a little bit lighter, and I just had that kind of feeling that maybe that is who they would have gone with, because it would have made sense after the Daniel Craig movies, with them having been much more sort of intense, darker, somber. And, a lot of people refer to Daniel Craig's Bond as being the emo Bond. And so that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. But at the same time, I am a very happy Bond fan at the moment. So yeah, look, I just really wanted to share my initial thoughts with you all. I mean, I say initial, I read this morning, and it's, 6 o'clock in the evening now, filming this. But I just really wanted to share my excitement with you all around this announcement. I am, like I said, a very happy James Bond fan at the moment. Yeah, if I was to do a top 5 list, Christopher Nolan is number 1 for me. But Denis Villeneuve would have probably been number 2. You know, he is... But it's at the same time... I mean, even with Christopher Nolan, you would... You know, if they had chosen Christopher Nolan, it would have been like, oh, so perhaps we're going to get more of the Daniel Craig sort of aesthetic and kind of like that kind of the more edgy, dark, kind of brutal Bond that I absolutely adored. I absolutely loved. But like I said, you know, growing up with these movies, it always tends to be a kind of a shift, a slight shift in tone and sort of slight different direction. I think the most obvious one being with Connery to Roger Moore, then Roger Moore to Dalton, and then with Pierce Brosnan. I just find that interesting that they're, you know, being aware of Denis Villeneuve as a director and sort of his previous movies. You know, we could end up getting something perhaps even more brutal and edgy and dark that really truly captures the Ian Fleming novel, maybe. I'll be honest, I would have loved, you know, and just going back to sort of directors, I would have loved for Martin Campbell to have returned. I mean, he did a wonderful job with GoldenEye and Casino Royale. I'm a little bit surprised, actually, that, I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if I'd woken up this morning and they'd announced that Martin Campbell was returning to direct, because he just done a fantastic job at launching a new Bond. The 2 times that he's done it. But yeah, look, I'm rambling on now. But that's because I'm just so fucking excited about this. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Are you concerned? Are you worried? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you agree or disagree with anything I've said? Then please let me know in the comments below and let's get a discussion going. And if you've made it this far into the video, then thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to watch future movie reviews and just general movie chat from some random Welsh geek in Wales, then please hit the subscribe button. It will mean an awful lot to me. Massive thank you to everyone that's supporting myself, the channel. It means the world to me. And so yeah, that's it from me for now. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be catching you guys soon.